college, I started having some success in some professional tournaments, and kind of came to the decision with my parents that I would go ahead and turn pro under the condition that I would go back to school when I was done, which is what I'm doing now. So it's kind of come full circle.
Cool. All right. So for school, like, did you do online school or?
Yeah, so I was doing a few classes here and there throughout my time on tour, and then when I retired, or when I was contemplating retiring, I was going to enroll at SMU here in Dallas, and then kind of found out about they have an MBA program that didn't require a college degree, so I kind of skipped a few steps and getting my master's, which is a little different path, but
yeah. The reason why I brought this up is so many students right now with coronavirus, like they're studying online and just they find themselves being the managers of their academics. Like, what was like how did you manage, like, being a pro player and just managing time to do some schoolwork?
Yeah, well, I wasn't very good at it, because I was taking a few classes here and there for about 13 years, and I didn't finish. So for me, it was tough. But actually, right now with our program, everything is online, and I know it's a challenge. I'm working as well right now, so the schoolwork that I get done is usually at 5 o'clock in the morning. But because I also have a very young daughter, so my time is kind of limited. So I know that the online schooling and classes being moved online is really difficult. So I'm dealing with some of the same stuff that you guys are.
Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm gonna play a video, and at the end of it, if you can tell us like a little bit about that moment, about that experience that you had. There it is.
His opponent, the third seed in Melbourne in 2015 from Spain, is Rafael Nadal. Game for set.
All right, awesome. So for some of the students that might have not heard of tennis, the tennis world, what level was this game? And tell us a little bit about it and tennis in general.
Yeah. So that was at the Australian Open, and I was playing Rafael Nadal, who was I don't know if he was ranked number 2 or 3 in the world at the time, but he's kind of one of the game's best for sure. So it was for a guy like me, it was a pretty cool experience just to be on the same court as him. I played him in the second round of the Australian Open and kind of went toe-to-toe with him, and we played a really long, almost 4.5 hour match, and it was one of those one of the experiences I'll remember for sure from my career.
So I mean, like, how was it, like, playing number 2 in the world, like, just being
I like to tell the story and you could actually kind of see it from the video, but I was handling my nerves pretty well leading into the match, and I wasn't too nervous about it. And then the moment I got really nervous was when I was already walking on the court and they announced him behind me, and the stadium just kind of went nuts for him. And then I got a little nervous, but it was good because I've heard of players that have talked about playing a top guy and kind of regretting not soaking up every minute, but I was pretty aware of how special it was, and I might not get an opportunity like that again. So I was real careful to soak it all in.
Cool.
In your high school, are your accolades posted up? Like, does your high school still know about you?
Yeah. So I would say they do. Yeah.
Okay.
I played 1 year of high school tennis for them, and then I was already.
Oh, that's right, because you were traveling and stuff. So you were traveling and stuff, so you didn't really have to, or you didn't have time to.
Yeah, exactly. So I played my freshman year of high school, and then I was traveling to tournaments a lot, and so I didn't keep up with high school.
Okay.
So around the world, how many countries did you get to visit?
I'm not exactly sure how many. Maybe 15 or 20. But the way it goes is, at least on tour, you generally go to the same places every year. So I would always go to Australia, and then every year I'd go to France and England and Mexico, Japan, those kind of places. So it's kind of the same 10 or 12 countries for the most part.
Awesome. So I'm gonna play another video.
What was your best moment on the court?
Yeah, probably this one. This the one in Australia. They were playing Nadal. That was pretty special. There was another one when I was I played at the U.S. Open, and it was my best result at the U.S. Open. And I just so happened to be the last American left. But that one was special for me because my parents were there, and I got to see me, play a big match like that. So that was fun.
Yeah. Back again to that game, I just, there's another video, like a really cool video. It's loading, it's almost there.
The internet's slow these days.
Some idiot.
Are you kidding me? I would not let this person back into this park.
Replay the
So Tim Smyczek, I think, gave it to him.
Yeah, many thanks. It's been very tough night for me. Just first of all, I want to congratulate Tim because he's a really gentleman. What he did in the last game is not a lot of people will do something like this in the 6-5 in the fifth, so after 4 hours. So just congratulate him for that, and because he played, I think, a great match.
So Tim, could you take back to this moment, like having number 2 in the world saying, "Oh, I congratulate Tim. He's a gentleman." Like,
sorry, Mark, I'm having a little trouble hearing you breaking up.
Can you hear me now?
It's kind of fuzzy. What about everybody else? Can you guys hear him?
It sounds like he's like,
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
fuzzy.
messing up.
yeah.
It sounds weird.
Excuse me.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh man. All right. Sorry about that. All for you.
No, it's the same. Oh yeah, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Still fuzzy.
Still the same. You might want to hop off and hop back on. That might be the easiest way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, what was probably the best tennis advice you got in your early years?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, I remember when I was maybe 19 or 20 years old, and uh, another player's coach who I became really close with over the years, sat me down and asked me what my goals were for tennis, and I told him, and he looked at me and he said, "Do you really think you're working hard enough to get there to achieve those goals?" And
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of a moment where had to
You had to think about it.
I had to take a look at myself and be real honest and
Yeah.
it was probably the most important moment in my career up until then, because after thinking about it, I realized, I really wasn't working hard enough. And so kind of from that point on, I tried to just make it so that nobody could say that they were working harder than me. So.
Yeah. And then what was like the first step towards that? What did you do from that point on?
Well, I remember that day. I know my buddies on tour were going out for some beers later, and I had to tell them no, to tell them that.
Business before pleasure.
It was kind of one of those things that I had to talk with this coach, and I resolved to fix it, and I got tested pretty quick. But yeah, that was kind of a big turning point for me.
Okay.
Who do you think was your toughest opponent?
Was there any other route you could have taken possibly?
What's that?
Was there any other route you could have taken possibly besides tennis?
No, probably not. I'm not really. I mean, sports-wise, probably not. I'm not that good at any other sports, but I think that I probably wouldn't have learnred to work as hard as I did if it weren't for tennis. So I'm at this point in my life, I'm a little bit behind where I am in my current career, because it's very much like a second career for me, being outside of tennis now. But I'm really thankful for how hard I learned to work on the tennis court. So I'm not sure who asked, but somebody was asking who my toughest opponent was. Probably the guy in the video. But there's another one named David Ferrer. He's a Spanish guy, and he was kind of always known as like the the toughest bulldog of a player on tour, and he was a bit older than me. So when I was younger, I really tried to watch all his matches and kind of learn as much as I could from him. So I got the opportunity to play him a number of years later, and that was a tough day.
Did you ever think of giving up, or like, do you think you couldn't get to a point that you wanted to be?
Yeah, I mean, I almost quit tennis a number of times. I a couple of times made like a deal with myself that if I wasn't at a certain ranking by a certain time, I would just go ahead and retire. And I probably did that two other times during my career. But yeah, I mean, every other day it seems like there's a reason to quit. And again, I'm going through a lot of this now in my schooling, because it's not easy getting up at 5 o'clock to get online and watch watch school videos. So but that's kind of been the only thing that I know how to get ahead in life. That's the only way I know how to make things better. It's just by putting your head down and working. There's more.
Right. How much money do you make during your tennis career?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
Can you, hey Francisco, can you speak a little louder? All right. So I got another video, which is like really one of my favorite. Sorry? Excuse my technology issue, but I'm gonna get it right this time.
Can you guys hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh my God, that shot that you...
Unbelievable. Smyczek falls down, slips, runs over and hits a cross-court forehand winner to break.
No, I want to replay this. This is... Look at that.
Unbelievable. Smyczek falls down, slips, runs over and hits a cross-court forehand winner to break.
So Tim, what really create that kind of agility, or like, that, speed, and that was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I just my movement was kind of always one of my strengths. I'm a smaller guy. I'm only about 5'9", so that was kind of one of the things that I had to be good at, because I couldn't just I could work on my serve or my power game, but my strength was my movement, so it was kind of one of the things that I worked most on.
Yeah. So now that it's just having someone from Milwaukee travel all the world, and also being able to be in the top 100 ranking in the world, what kind of habits do you think you had to build, to be able to reach that kind of level, that kind of performance?
Yeah, that's a good habits are a good thing to talk about, because the work ethic and you know the working hard is I always used to talk with my coach about like a capacity for hard work and like just having the ability to work hard for longer periods of time and day after day. And so like I do think that it's very much a habit that you know it's never easy to work hard, but it gets easier the more and more you do it. So you're absolutely right. It was all about like habits and you know in sports especially we talk about like being a professional and one of the parts of that is having really good habits. So I took a lot of pride in being very professional with my habits for sure.
Awesome. So guys, if I'm gonna start opening up for questions. If you have any question, go ahead and ask Tim. But you know, being born in Wisconsin and now live where do you live now, Tim?
I'm living in Dallas.
Awesome. What do you miss the most about Wisconsin?
No, I miss being with my parents a lot, but they come down and visit us sometimes, so that's all right. We live in Dallas because my wife's parents live here, but you know it's tough to get good brats down here in Texas. They're just not the same as Milwaukee.
How much money do you make during your tennis career?
Well, that you can skip if you're not comfortable.
No, it's okay. You know, I don't know an exact number, but you can probably Google it. It's you know, my career prize money's is on there, and I wouldn't want to say more or less than it is because I don't know exactly what it was.
Isn't it like 100K a tournament? Like the Australian Open would be like 200K.
The Australian Open to win it is over $3 million, but I never won any Grand Slams.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure
You
there's
ever
gonna
seen
be.
Williams sisters?
Sorry?
Have you ever like seen in person the Williams sisters?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
They used to be at all the tournaments and stuff. Yeah, I knew Venus a little bit. She was always very, very nice. I didn't know Serena at all, but you know.
Is there one that's like more down to earth than the other?
Probably Venus was a little bit more.
Venus. Okay, that's funny. No beef though.
All right.
I got a question.
Sure.
Yeah.
What was the biggest injury in your whole life with tennis?
So probably the one that kind of ended my career a little bit. Last year, I tore my quadricep tendon. So it's like the tendon right above your kneecap, basically. And I kind of, you know, I did like some injections and took 4 months off, and it got to the point where I could tell that it was never really going to be 100% again, and so you know, I came back and played for another month, and my last tournament was the U.S. Open last year. So after that, I kind of knew that my knee wasn't going to allow me to play any longer. But other than that, I had a couple of surgeries. I had a different knee surgery that I was out for a few months. I had a shoulder surgery that I was out for about 5 months, 6 months, something like that. So I had, but you know, in terms of you know, I played for 13 years and I only had a couple of, I only had 2 surgeries and 1 other major injury, so I was pretty lucky.
Were you always good with, or first of all, were you pretty good with dealing with pressure throughout your career, like pro career?
I mean, I like to think I was.
Okay.
I think for me, and this is getting a little bit granular, but for me, with the way I used to play with my style of game, it was kind of just the way I tried harder was just, you know, try to run faster and like play a little defensive. So it wasn't like I needed to rely on hitting winners or like actually playing well. I got pretty good at winning matches, you know, when I wasn't necessarily playing well.
Yeah.
And so that kind of took some pressure off me a little bit. Like there's a great book called Winning Ugly, and it's all about you know, competing hard when you don't feel like you're playing your best, and I got pretty good at that.
Okay, good, cool.
I want to share. There's another video that I would really like to share, and it's a video when your shot was like the best shot of the day during a big tournament. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that tournament.
Tennis fans, please direct your attention to the video walls for the BNP Paribas shot of the day from Thursday, March 6th. We may not see a better shot all tournament than this one from American Tim Smyczek.
Oh, he made it. Can you believe that? Sock is going to challenge this. And good. What a shot.
And that's your BNP Paribas shot of the day.
So that was always one of my favorite tournaments. It's Indian Wells out in Palm Springs, California. I must have played it 10 times or so. So yeah, I was playing another American named Jack Sock. He's a really good player. At the time, he was a little bit younger, so he was, you know, ended up winning that match. But he's gone on to have a really impressive career.
No, that's a really nice shot.
My eyes on that one.
Yeah, that shot was crazy.
Yeah. No, you got some trick shot. There's another one that I saw, like really very skilled. All right, so guys, we got a few more minutes for questions.
I think I saw somebody in the chat asked if I ever forgot my equipment during a tournament. I don't think I ever actually like showed up to the courts without my shoes. Or I know of people that did.
Different color of socks.
Yeah, I might have forgotten some socks or something, but you know, you can borrow those from somebody in the locker room. It's not a big deal.
What kind of like what type of rackets do you use?
I used to use, for the last couple of years of my career, I used Wilson rackets, but I switched a couple of times throughout my career, but I probably used Wilson for the longest.
Are they like expensive or no?
You know, all rackets are kind of about the same price. One brand isn't usually more expensive than the other ones, I don't think.
All right. Thank you.
Have you ever had like an embarrassing moment in your career?
I mean, probably there's so many of them. I can't even, remember. I can't even think of just one. I remember when I was in high school at an awards ceremony the year that I played high school tennis, and I was in the back of the auditorium, and I was goofing around with my buddies, and wasn't paying attention. And then we heard my name get called from up on stage, and so I had kind of assumed that I'd won an award. So I walked up to the stage, and the the tennis coach was up there, and he was just looking at me like, "What are you doing?" I didn't actually win an award. He just said my name. That was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. That's mad funny. Does your wife appreciate tennis as much as you do?
She loves it. She doesn't play. She kind of wishes I would teach her, but I don't have a ton of time anymore. I think probably after I'm finished with school, I'll have more time. We'll be able to go out and play tennis together. But yeah, she does. She enjoys it.
Do you have kids?
Yeah, I have my daughter is about 1.5 years old, and we're expecting a little boy in a few months. So we're about to have 2.
Are you thinking of also like making them go through your steps, so that they play tennis?
I don't think I'm gonna make them play tennis. I think if they want to, I'll do whatever I can to help them. But
Be the free coach.
yeah, see, I've known too many people whose parents were their coach, and they just didn't have great relationships with their parents. So I think I'll stay away. I'll hire a coach for them, but but they'll definitely be studying before they play tennis.
If you were to be like a personal coach, how much would you charge?
That's hard to say. I know that some of the like the top coaches for like the top players in the world, they might make, I don't know, $500,000 a year or something like that. But those are the top guys. The thing about going from playing to coaching is, you're not, because you're a good player doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a good coach. It's kind of it's 2 different skill sets. So if I had wanted to become a coach, it would have been kind of going through steps to become good at it. And, you can't charge a lot until you're good at it. So
You're getting sponsored by a big brand.
So I was sponsored by Wilson for my rackets, and then a company called Lotto for clothes. They're an Italian company.
Do you enjoy the city or like nature more?
I like playing golf a lot. So I like to be out in nature, I suppose.
If you don't mind, I got this video. Someone asked about equipment and sponsorship, and I would like to play this video.
Hi, I'm Tim Smyczek, and this is my bag check. I've got the Wilson Ultra Tour. It's working out pretty well for me. I've only got 3 of them in my bag right now because the rest are at the stringer. String, I use Luxilon Gut and 4G. Been using the combination for a long time and just can't see myself switching from it. Some cramps away, never go on court without it. It's a solution for preventing cramps and also treating cramps once they start. Protein shaker for recovery after practices and matches. Got a lacrosse ball that I use for, self-massage, part of my warm-up every day. And then I've got the all-important golf glove. You never know when you're going to be able to sneak out for an emergency 9, so I've always got it at the ready. I'm Tim Smyczek, and that was my bag check.
That rhymes.
Yeah, just wanted to play that, for the golf.
Always got to have the golf club. Yeah.
What type of teenager were you? Were you like always working on tennis and like doing your work and stuff, or were you like out with your buddies and stuff?
Yeah, I kind of goofed around a little bit,
Okay.
a little more than I like to admit. But you know, I might have been a lot better tennis player, made a lot more money if I hadn't. But you know,
Yeah, that's funny.
I finished. I figured it out sooner or later.
That's good.
Where can you buy the cramp what's it called, the cramp protect?
Yeah, Cramps Away. They're online. I think they actually have it on Amazon too.
You said you're from Milwaukee, right?
Mhm.
Where are you from again?
Hales Corners. It's the south side of Milwaukee.
I played them basketball.
You played who in basketball? Sorry.
Hales Corner. That's a school there.
Do they have no? Or maybe they have one now. I know when I was younger, it would have been Whitnall High.
Wait, what school did you go to for high school?
High school now. Yeah.
What high school did you go to? You said.
I actually went to Brookfield Academy. It's a private school out in Brookfield.
Wait, so if you went there, did like the Marquette tennis team and y'all have a rivalry?
They were so Brookfield Academy was like smaller, so they had the.
Oh, so you weren't in the same conference?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Right, guys, we gotta take two more questions. Well, if no one is gonna take it, I'm gonna take both of them.
Have you ever had any rivals in
I
tennis?
didn't hear that. Sorry.
Have you ever had any rivals in tennis?
I mean, I had a couple of guys that I must have played 10 or 12 times. One of them is actually one of my closest friends who moved to Dallas right around the time that I did, so we're still very close. His name's Alex Kuznetsov. And then another guy that I played just a bunch, his name is Dennis Kudla, and he's actually still on tour playing.
What type of music do you listen to, like from teenage years to now?
So it's a little bit embarrassing, but I don't actually listen to that much music. I always like put on a podcast in the car, or you know, if I'm on the lawn or something, I listen to a book. So that's like kind of boring, but
okay.
All right. So, team, to wrap up, like I know we have so many dreams here. Maybe some students want to become pro athletes, or some want to become engineers. You know, looking like, you know, at a 360 degree, what would be like, your advice for anyone who really want to achieve big dreams, you know, be on the blue carpet like you know, playing top number 5 or number 1 in the world? Like, what would be your advice for, you know, all the dreams that all the high schoolers have?
yeah, well, I've already said it today, and you know, you're probably gonna get tired of hearing about it, but for me, it was just all about how hard I was willing to work. It it took me a little while to figure out, but once I did, you know, I got pretty good at just dedicating every aspect of my life to working hard at tennis. You know, whether it was my diet or my workouts or practicing on the court, or even my you know, my sleep habits. I just kind of left no stone unturned, and made sure that when I you know, when I went to bed at night, I could be honest with myself and say, you know, I couldn't have done anything more today to work harder. So that's probably it for me. That's the most important thing.
Awesome. So I know this weekend is a big deal because, it's Easter, and some of the students were mentioning about Easter. Any big celebration for Easter for you, Tim?
So it's gonna be my daughter's first time painting eggs. So we're gonna paint eggs, and then we've kind of been home for several weeks now. So we'll make a nice breakfast on Sunday and just kind of lounge around and we'll watch mass instead of going to mass. But yeah, just kind of lay low. What about you guys? Or what about you?
Chilling.
Yeah.
Nate?
Just listening to music, doing what I really want. Calling my friends and stuff. Homework.
Homework on Easter?
I thought you were just talking about like what are we doing in general on quarantine. Probably gonna have a big dinner or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eat. Check on my family.
Team, do you wanna pick a name? We have like about 14 names here. Who you would like to hear the plans for Easter?
Ooh, I just get to call on somebody?
Yeah, call on anyone. Let's see who is sleeping right now.
I did this in class. This gave me anxiety. All right. We have not heard from Egbert.
I'm probably just gonna chill around.
Yeah. All right. That's kind of what I'm doing anyway, so.
All right, awesome, guys. So you can unmute and let's give a big round of applause to our guest for today, Tim.
Thanks, guys.
Tim, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
Gotta
Tim.
go on and on.
You're amazing.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. So I will be sharing the different links of Tim's videos on the GroupMe app. For everyone who is on the group. And Tim, thank you so much. And to everyone, happy Easter. Be with your family, chill, hang out with your family. Try to make breakfast as Tim is going to do. And if not, if you don't know how to make it, help your parents out, in the kitchen, and just be there for your families. All right.
All right, Mark. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
See you.
Same during the same.
Stay safe.
Be safe. That's a wrap. Bye, Temo.
Oh, my fault.
No problem. We'll see you later.